I found it under a TV stand, and it was just very fitting.
Jonesy and Ray, just wondering.
Welcome back to Just Wondering podcast, where we will surprise each other with whatever topics come to mind. We literally know nothing and have made a rule to never research before recording, so buckle up.
We're your hosts. I'm Jones.
And I'm Ray.
And Ray, I was just wondering about sunburns.
I think I got a sunburn today. Yep.
I hate sunburns probably more than I hate most things in the world. How many times do you think I put on sunscreen today? 153 for Canada's 153rd birthday.
I think so.
Approximately.
Yeah, happy Canada Day,
Happy
everyone.
Canada Day.
Yep.
Canada is my favorite holiday. So this is what your skin was. Your belly was like this color before, and now it's this.
It's true.
Anyway, I once got such a bad sunburn on my back. I was sitting outside in the sun, and I was wearing a wife beater, and I got so badly burnt on my back that it was like purple, and now I still have a freckle racer back outline on my back.
Don't think that wife beater is really politically correct, and
what's it called now?
I think it's just called like a ribbed tank top. I was like, oh, that's a controversial term. I'm not sure if I endorse the use of the term wife beater. Undershirt.
Yeah, ribbed undershirt. It was an undershirt.
So Nicole is someone that I know that practices sun safety, like the most sun safety of anyone I've ever known.
If there's one thing to know about me, it's that sun safety is very, very important.
My version of sun safety is resting a hat on top of my head. I know that tans are also skin damage. I'm not fooled by that. I'm not fooled with the idea of getting a base tan. I know that I don't typically burn. I will burn usually the first time my skin is exposed to the sun in a season. I am willing to accept that sunburn in order to not have to put sunscreen, which is just chemicals, on my skin over and over and over again every single day for the entire summer, and risk that, yes, I will have skin damage and probably maybe age. Apparently that's what I heard, like if you get sun damage, you just age earlier, which so far hasn't happened to me.
No, that has not happened.
So I'm not that worried about that.
I think that will happen to me. I think that even though I wear copious amounts of sunscreen, so my skin is full of chemicals in hopes that it will not be filled with melanoma, but because I'm so freckly, I think that I will just be very wrinkled and weathered from the sun. Based on what I know about other freckly people.
So I have previously learned that there's two types of skin damage, right? So one is tanning and one is burning. And you actually get tanned from UVA light. So there's UVA and UVB sunlight.
Interesting.
And UVA tans you, which is still sun damage.
Okay.
And UVB burns you, and you can remember that because B is the first letter in burn. So, no, that's literally how I remember this. Like, I did learn about this.
But is one worse than the other?
They don't actually know, and both, I think, can cause skin cancer. Typically, people with fairer skin with moles are more likely to develop skin cancer versus darker people, but darker people can also get skin cancer. It's just not as common.
I have fair skin, freckles, and moles, so seems like the triple whammy.
My younger sister does too, and her name is Emma, and I used to call her Emma Noma because she was always sunburned when we were kids.
I remember one time when I was in grade 12, we went to Costa Rica for a grad trip, and one day we went to the beach, and there was actually like no shade on the beach at all. None whatsoever. So I had brought SPF 70 sunscreen because I was like, well, we're close to the equator, got to get some high stuff. Now I typically wear 60 on my face always. But it's hard to find 60 for your body. It's usually 50. I probably put it on like every 45 minutes, which was not enough, and burnt every piece of my skin that was exposed. I remember having to just sit in an ice bath for like the whole night. But nothing was as gross as my friend Sam, who was there, also got so sunburnt, and she got these nasty blisters on her shoulder that were like oozing and pouring. So you don't want that. Wear sunscreen.
My aunt, who is a redhead, has gotten sunburnt with sunscreen on a cloudy day while wearing a long sleeve shirt. However, it also was in the mountains, so you're at a higher altitude, so you're literally closer to the sun.
Yeah, I really, really try to be sun safe. Like, I will put on as much sunscreen as I can. I am always having to ask people to put it on my back, and some people don't like that, and I find it rude when they won't put sunscreen on my back unless they're allergic. Then it's fine. Otherwise, you should put sunscreen on your friend's back, because your hands feeling bad for a couple minutes is not as bad as your friend having a sunburn for a couple days.
One time I shaved my head in grade 11. I went to a track and field meet, and so it was already in the spring, and my face was a bit tan, and I shaved my head down to the skin, and it was not a good look. Plus, my scalp was not tanned, because like my hair's quite thick. The sun doesn't usually get through there, so my scalp was not tanned. So I go to the track and field meet and sunburn my entire scalp, and it just peeled off like the biggest flakes of dandruff ever. It was
so disgusting. I remember seeing pictures and I thought,
that's not the best look.
Yeah, no, definitely not the best look. I always get really stressed out when I see people getting sunburnt. Last year we went to a Buffalo Bills game, so we like took a bus down and went to a Bills game, and I always bring sunscreen with me. So I knew we were going to be outside all day, and it was a really hot sunny day. It was like their home opener, so it was beginning of September. I was just carrying the sunscreen in my pocket, and there was this guy in front of, like, his seat was in front of me, and he wasn't wearing a shirt, and he was just like turning bright red, like he was so fair skinned. And I tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, can I please put sunscreen on your back? Like, you're burning, and it's really stressing me out. Like, I can't have a good time at the football game, even though I've been drinking since 6 a.m. and it's the best day of my life. And he did let me put sunscreen on his back. And then there was like a couple people around, and I was like squirting it in their hands. I was like, you're getting sunburned. You're getting sunburnt. I was like Oprah, but with sunscreen.
I think that's really generous.
Yeah, and like sunscreen's one thing, like it's very important to me, and I won't share a lot of it if I don't have a lot of it.
Yeah.
But if I have a full bottle of sunscreen, I would rather share it with everyone and buy a new bottle tomorrow, because I would rather no one get burnt. I don't want anyone to be burnt. The more I'm in the sun, the more freckles I get, and I'm just worried that one day I'm just going to be one giant freckle like my dad.
I was hoping you could tell us the story about when you asked your mom how you got freckles.
Oh my goodness. So when I was first in university back in the day, I was in Newfoundland, and I took a course called Folklore of Newfoundland and Labrador. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, it'll be easy, whatever. I didn't really know what to take. And then one time in class, this girl was like asking the professor, like not relevant, but was like, oh I heard that people get freckles because they get sunburned through a screen door. And I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so I left the class and I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, listen to what this girl said. Isn't that stupid? Like, that's obviously not what happened. And she said, no, that's not what happened. You got your freckles because we threw shit at you through a screen door.
So kind.
Thanks, Mom. But I know that's not true, because I have no memory of having shit thrown at me through a screen door.
So in addition to sunscreen, I think that probably the most effective way to avoid sunburns would be just sun avoidance. Yes. I know you do need like vitamin D. Like, I know it is important to go out in the sun. If you are fair skinned and prone to sunburns, I would recommend wearing long sleeves. Wear like a wide brim hat. That can help to keep the sun off you. Stay in the shade if possible.
I definitely could do better. I'm not always the best at wearing hats.
Yeah.
Today I'm wearing this cool visor because I found it under a TV stand, and it was just very fitting. The thing is that I, like, in the summer, I really love to just like be in the water, and typically there's not a ton of shade. Today I'm wearing a tank top, but I typically wear a t-shirt, and my forearms honestly don't really burn as much. When we were in San Francisco, we went on the bike ride. We biked for like 13 miles. It was like May, but it was kind of cold, so I was wearing a sweater to here, and I just burnt this part of my arms. I imagine that there's probably a lot of people getting sunburnt today, and it does stress me out. Like, I think about all my friends, and like a lot of them don't wear sunscreen. I know that I'm not going to get sunburnt, and that's all I can do.
I do like to have a tan, even though I know it is skin damage, and I know that a base tan is not a thing, and you're still just damaging your skin more. So those of you who think, oh, I'll just get a base tan, or also, I know a lot of people who will say, oh yeah, I burnt today, but it's going to be a tan by tomorrow. That's not actually how it works. So
surprise!
It just means you have both forms of skin damage at that moment, and the burn healed, but the tan part didn't heal.
I don't really know the science behind it.
I just did learn about this like a few years ago, and it just stuck in my mind because of the UVA and the UVB part. I was like, oh, I can remember that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I always hate when I go on like tropical vacation. So if I go to like Cuba or Jamaica or whatever.
Tropical vacations as well. I always hate going on tropical vacations.
No, I like going on vacations, but I don't like when I go and then you see like all the girls that were like tanning at the pool all day, just like, or on the beach, and then you see them at dinner and they're all just like bright red, crispy, lobstery.
Oh, also, like back to track and field in high school, there was always like the girls, you could tell that they would go to like tanning salons and stuff. Yeah. And my sister would call them FTGs, which meant fake tan girls. So to this day, when I see someone that looks like they've been to like a tanning salon or they have a fake tan, I call them an FTG in my head. And I'm sorry if you were one of these people, I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm really not trying to be mean to you. But if you weren't one of those people, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know some people still use fake tanner a lot.
And honestly, now I'm like, to use the fake tanning lotion or the spray or something, I'm like, that is actually smart. You have that glow without actually damaging your skin, which is fine.
It just is like the level of what you're...
But going to a tanning bed is not good for you.
Oh, one time I got a sunburn. I was wearing a hat like that backwards. Yeah. On my head. Yeah, so it was like that. And I was driving. And I used to have a sunroof. And then, so I was driving out to Algonquin Park. And I was there. I had the hat on all day. And then at night I took it off. And someone was like, what is on your forehead? Like, what? I don't know what's there. And then I think I was like holding the hat or something, like I had just taken it off. And then we realized that I had sunburnt the half moon into my forehead. I used to get like the funniest tan lines working at camp, like just like the craziest watch tan, Birkenstock tan, just like I still get the watch tan, but not a Birkenstock tan. I think I wear different shoes now. Crocs. I hope I get the little dots on my feet.
She's going for polka dot feet now.
Exactly. I wanted a new style.
One time I went to a tanning bed because I joined a gym, and with the gym membership, you got to have one free tan, and you had to fill out a questionnaire first of like basically your skin tone, whatever. You did this like assessment, and they would tell you what the safe amount of time for you to go into the tanning bed is. And I went with my mom, and she's blonde and blue-eyed and quite fair, and so she was allowed to go for 4 to 7 minutes. And then with my complexion, I was allowed to go for 7 to 15 minutes. But I was scared, so I was like, okay, I'm going to just go for the 7 minutes. And it is scary in there. And
I wouldn't like that at all.
They give you these little cone things.
That look like olives, kind of.
I don't know.
Right?
These little like UV protection cone things to go over your eyes, but you still can't open your eyes. But you're just lying there, and you know you're trapped, and it's so bright, even with your eyes closed and these little cones over your eyes. It was terrifying, and I didn't like it.
I wouldn't like that at all. My grandparents used to have a tanning bed in their old house. And I was always so scared of it. But then also, after I watched Final Destination, I was like, I'll never go in that. I also don't like the feeling of my skin burning.
Well, today, because it is Canada Day, we're both drinking Molson Canadian. I literally don't even know if this is a Canadian beer.
I don't know
either. It just says Canada on it. I normally drink Canadian beers, so I don't know why I'm not drinking Canuck, to be honest.
This one was brewed in Toronto.
Anyway,
cool.
Cheers.
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 Gotta be safe, because...
Yeah.
And, that's it.
If you guys have any tips for us on other ways that we can keep safe in the sun, or if you have any more information about the skin damage, maybe stories about like surviving melanoma, that would be an inspiration to Nicole.
Anyone knows, why you get more freckles in the sun?
Oh yeah, my freckles are even out now. Yeah.
I know that I do get more freckles in the sun, and I don't know, like, I just don't understand how it really works, because I'll get more freckles in the summer in the sun, and in the winter they do fade. So, but they're still there. They're just not as prominent. Like, they don't pop, but in the summer they pop. They pop. And freckles are really in right now. People are getting freckles tattooed. I was thinking about getting some tattooed. I just like wanted a couple more. So
yeah, you wanted to know where to fill in the spots.
Yeah.
So you can email us at justwonderingpodcast.ray@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at just.wondering.podcast.
Do it.
Looking forward to hearing from you.
Thanks. Bye.
Peace. And this is
I have UBV.
UVB skin
UVB.
damage.
Oh, UV burn
I
damage.
currently have